Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. My name is Scott Reich, and this is Crime Talk. It is Saturday, April 23rd, 2022. And well, it's time for our weekly recap of the top stories, all conveniently located in one location. Please enjoy it. It's a nice summary. Please watch us. We'll see you next time on Crime Talk. Lori Vallow, Chad Daybell. There's a hearing tomorrow for both of them. The first hearing in the morning is in regards to the change of venue. Now, it'll be curious to see if Lori Vallow's attorneys show up to this hearing, since technically their case isn't stayed, but also technically they haven't even been arraigned to enter a not guilty plea. They haven't asked or been ordered by the court to file any motions. So really their motions, save for all these issues being resolved, are completely not ripe yet. They haven't come up yet. But obviously Chad Daybell's case has been going on for a long time while Lori Vallow was off at the state mental hospital. So it'll be interesting. But more than likely, Lori Vallow will not be there, or her attorney, and whatever ruling takes place will probably be applied to her, even though she's not participating. Gets kind of complicated. And I assure you, if there's convictions, it'll be even more complicated, because do they just go through a motion in the future if she files the same motion? And what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. Does she get the same due process that Chad Daybell was getting, because he's going to be there? Well, then in the afternoon, we have the arraignment. So the question is it going to be moving forward, or is it going to be maybe not moving so forward so quickly, right? We know that Mr. Archibald has been on the case now for several months, basically the entire time that Lori Vallow has been at the state hospital. And I'm assuming he has been working diligently on this case. However, late last week, he asked for another attorney to be appointed as co-counsel on the case. And guess what? It's going to take him time to get up to speed to be an effective counsel, and one that has as a defendant, has a right to have effective assistance of counsel under the Sixth Amendment to the Constitution. Is it fair to just let one attorney be prepared? Shouldn't both of them be prepared? Will the judge maker go forward? Will he grant a continuance? Oh, so many things that we have to look out for tomorrow. And what's the one problem? They're not live streaming it. Yes, that's right. So we're looking at schedules. We're looking at the weather. We shall see. Maybe we would have taken a different plane, but I don't know. The United States government has all our money now, so we don't really know. We were lucky if we could maybe take a skateboard there. It is the day where Barry Morphew walks out of the courthouse a free man. Now, as we brought you the information yesterday, today, the Barry Morphew matter was set for a pretrial readiness conference. That's where everybody has to announce that we are ready to go to trial. And I said, well, if the prosecution is going to dismiss this case, they're going to have to do it now, because the jury commissioner is ordering all those jurors. And if you're going to inconvenience all those jurors and have a trial and have jeopardy attached, well, guess what? Today was the drop dead date. So 9 minutes before the pretrial conference, the district attorney filed a motion to dismiss without prejudice. What does that mean? They're trying to keep the door open so that they can refile if they have new evidence. Now, the first thing you say is, wow, this looks like it's in bad faith. Speedy trial was coming up. A trial which they were not prepared for was coming up. The DA has to come up with some face-saving information, an argument to make to the court so that the case is just not completely done. Although, I will say it here right now, the case is done, okay? Short of somebody confessing to this case, I doubt the charges will ever be brought. But what does the DA say when it comes to why we must allow this case to basically maybe come back? Maybe? Well, the DA says the police are getting really close to finding the remains of Suzanne Morphew. They believe that it is in a very rugged area near the Morphew house, and they have been unable to get to that location because there is at least 5 feet of snow still covering the proposed search site right now. And then what does the district attorney say? They say that, well, we really can't prove this case without a body. Who's been saying that since day one? Makes it very, very difficult unless you have a confession or somebody else, an eyewitness that was there and said, this is the reason why you're not going to find the body. And then the final reason was the district attorney said, well, they can't prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt because, well, Judge, you gutted our motions. The third reason in the motion for the motion to dismiss was that the people cannot prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. Well, the reason they can't prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt was because the judge completely gutted their case, not allowing 14 of the 16 endorsed expert witnesses to testify. Now you say, man, that judge must be some sort of renegade. No, he is not. Witnesses were barred because the people, that's right, the elected DA who prosecuted this case, Linda Stanley, is the only one to blame. They missed the court deadlines. They missed the court dates that were set by the court in the case management order, and it is on her. Don't be upset with Barry Morphew. Do not be upset with the defense attorneys in this case. Be upset with the prosecutor. The prosecutors are the ones with the burden of proving their case beyond a reasonable doubt, and they have an ethical obligation only to take a case which they think they can prove at trial unanimously to a jury of 12 people beyond a reasonable doubt. Oh, and the DA mentions that as well, that they have this. They should have remembered that when they filed this case back in May of 2021. So we will see if Linda Stanley and her investigators can come up with a body, which they think they can. We will wait and see. And if you missed it, we went live today when we heard this breaking news about the motion to dismiss, and we went through an analysis of that as well. And don't forget to check out yesterday's video where I said if they're going to dismiss, now would be the time. All right, we're almost done with talking about Barry Morphew forever, unless there's something new that's breaking. Well, the daughters have spoken out after prosecutors dropped the murder charges against their father. And as we all know, Mr. Barry Morphew's trial was set to start in about a week down in Canyon City, Colorado, but the prosecutors admitted they didn't have enough evidence to secure a conviction. And the district attorney filed a motion to drop all charges just 9 minutes before Tuesday's hearing was due to start, claiming that the investigators needed more time to search an area that had long been subject of interest in the hopes of finding Suzanne's body. Well, Barry's daughters, who have stuck by his side for every court appearance, were seen hugging and crying in relief as the judge approved the dismissal of the charges. Now, Mallory Morphew stated that we miss our mom clearly, and we know our dad didn't have anything to do with it. Macy added, we're happy that we can go on with our lives and take time to heal. We wish we'd been treated better. Now, Iris Itan, the lead defense attorney for Barry Morphew, obviously was very happy and gave Barry, Macy, and Mallory hugs as they hopped into a truck and drove away. She then stated these charges were false from the beginning, and Itan stated after Tuesday hearing that there's no physical evidence linking Barry Morphew to this case, and noted that the prosecutors have never before said they needed to find Suzanne Morphew's body to prosecute this case. Well, that sounds like something I've said yesterday when it all broke. Really? Now all of a sudden you need a body? No, they're trying to cover themselves because they got egg on the face. Well, Miss Iris Itan also said Barry and his daughters are relieved, but they want to know where Suzanne is as well. Barry Morphew loves Suzanne Morphew. He loves her and misses her and wants to know where she is. Next, some breaking news early this morning. Orsolya Gaal, right? The lady that was found in a hockey duffel bag about a half mile from her house. Well, a guy by the name of David Bonalla has been arrested for the murder of the Queen's mother. He was spotted by police on Wednesday night and brought in for questioning, then apparently confessed to murdering Miss Gaal in her home on April 16th before roughly 1 a.m. Now, Bonalla is believed to be the handyman lover police were searching for this past week, and police revealed that the two had been having an on and off again affair over the last 2 years. And apparently after midnight, the night that she was murdered, Gaal, whose husband was out of town with her oldest son, let Bonalla into her home. They went into the basement where an argument ensued, and that's where he stabbed her, allegedly 58 times in a frenzy. He then retrieved Gaal's son's hockey bag and waited till about 4 a.m., then wheeled her body out of the home and dumped it less than a half a mile away. Now, Benalla then walked to his own home through Forest Park, and the next day he went to the hospital for treatment to wounds that he had in his hands. That's what happens when you stab people viciously and the knife sometimes hits bone and things of that nature. Your hand can slide down and you wind up cutting yourself. Well, in a press conference, the police revealed that the murder weapon, a kitchen knife similar to the knives in Gaal's home, had been used. Gaal and Benalla interacted with each other on social media a handful of times, and in 2020, he liked a photograph of her as a child writing "Hola" with a love heart underneath the image. She liked his comment. Benalla is from Richmond Hill, a neighborhood in Queens very close to Gaal's. Detectives say that the two argued in the house before Bonilla allegedly killed her. The story is still developing, and we'll bring you the information as it comes about. Now, I'm going to have to admit, that video, or the photograph taken from the video from the Ring doorbell, doesn't that look like a kid pulling that bag? It does to me. Apparently, the police have got their guy. Well, there's been a motion to seal in the Chad Daybell matter. And you say, Scott, what is it? Why does everybody always want to seal everything? Well, it's the prosecution, really. They're the ones that started this nonsense. And I'm a firm believer, I mean, unless we're talking absolute, medical privacy issues or, somebody's tax returns where they have an expectation of privacy, everything else should be open to the public. I'm a firm believer in that. But Mr. Pryor has filed his, get this is a mouthful, he has filed his reply to the state's amended objection and memorandum in response to motion to dismiss indictment, and he's asking that that be sealed. Why? Well, the prosecution wanted it sealed when they did their answer, and then the court said, fine, let's keep them all sealed. It doesn't sound like Mr. Pryor really wants to keep that sealed, but that's what the court required him to do, so that's what he's doing. As you may recall, the original issues regarding the motion to dismiss the indictment had to do with some irregularities as it related to the grand jury proceedings. Obviously, the grand jury proceedings have to be kept secret. People can't discuss their testimony. Unauthorized people cannot be in the grand jury room. And basically, the witnesses can't be tainted by other people's testimony. And those were the allegations that Mr. Pryor was making at the previous proceedings. As you may recall, the government's response was basically everything was fine, but if it wasn't fine, then it's close enough for government's work, and therefore, judge, no reason to dismiss the indictment whatsoever. Now, let's get realistic. Is the judge going to dismiss the indictment? I would fall over onto my face if the judge dismissed the indictment for grand jury irregularities. I've never seen it done. I've seen a lot of motions filed for it, and really nothing will rise to that level. If there are irregularities, it would be dealt with at the trial court level. Perhaps maybe some type of evidence would not come in, but I wouldn't hold my breath. I think it's a lot of work that's been done. It's a lot of necessary work that needed to be done. But oftentimes what happens when you're on the defense side is you work really hard and nobody looks at your motions until possibly you get to the appellate level. So we'll see what happens.